Hello! All right, here we go. And I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi continues to work. Very exciting. I didn't think that it would, but here we are. It's Friday support now, at least for the next couple of weeks. I'm out of town, and Friday's a little bit of an easier day for my schedule. But hello, happy Friday. Happy eating disorder support. I just ate a biscuit and it was delicious. Thanks everyone who's here kind of last minute. I was gonna try and do this a little bit earlier in the day, but then I slept in. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna take a little sip of this old lukewarm Diet Coke. And yeah, how is everybody doing? I guess I was on here on Sunday, so it hasn't been a full week, and I believe we were practicing 5% more patience with ourselves. Oh, Nana, I feel for you. Loneliness is a really challenging feeling to sit with. I'm not good at sitting with it myself, so I'm glad that we could all be here and hang out for a little bit. So this week was a 5% more patience with ourselves. How did folks do? How did I do with 5% more patience with myself? Okay, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I could probably do 5% more patience every week. Oh gosh, the apps. Oh my gosh, Katie, I feel you. I'm wondering if you could delete those apps. 5% more butter was the week before, but every week should be 5% more butter. I should have buttered that biscuit. Is that a euphemism? Hang on real quick. Oops, I'm losing track of these messages. Grace. Oh, Grace. Proud of you for making that bold step, and I'm really sorry that your cousin did not receive it in a way that is making you feel good. That must be an incredibly shitty feeling, and I completely understand why it would trigger the urge to use ED behaviors. I mean, I can only speak from my own experience, but I know that for me, that urge comes from sort of like self-harm or wanting to disappear, and it feels like it'll help alleviate some of that pain in the short term. But at least for me, whenever I've engaged with those behaviors, when I felt like using those behaviors, it's never accomplished what I hoped that it would accomplish. And we love you and we value you, and you know, I just hope that you have other people in your life who are going to receive your information. What, I don't know how I'm still a little groggy. Your information. What am I, like a robot? That are going to receive your truth in a very loving, supportive way. Because it's part of who you are and what makes you a beautiful, wonderful person. And also, it's 2020, people. What's the issue? Come on, everybody, get hip to it. But I'm sending a lot of love, and I hope that you can find ways to sort of self-soothe and feel safe and comfortable without ED behaviors if you can. And you know, if you can't, it's all part of healing, and you'll learn. And next time you're having those feelings, you'll have more tools to use to combat those urges, perhaps. Anyway, sending a lot of love your way, Grace. And, you know, a lot of pride for taking that step. And if your cousin's not having a positive reaction to it, that's about her and not about you. or him or them, that person. That's on them. I'm seeing some conversations about food tracking apps. Oh God, I hate them. I hate them. Oh, interesting. Shayna, what are those apps that are tracking apps that are recovery focused? Because that sounds like a really cool way to kind of pivot out of those food tracking apps. And look, I have the impulse to download those apps every once in a while too. I mean, I get it. I get it. For me, I'm always like, oh, this will give me a sense of control. This will give me a sense of safety. But never pans out that way, at least for me. It's just another way to focus less on my actual life and my actual self, and focus more on the eating disorder voice, which ultimately robs you of your life. But I understand the impulse. I understand the impulse. Yep. Yeah, I would like to know what. Well, in the past, when you've deleted the app, you've downloaded it again. But you could delete it now. And what if we? So we did one week. We did a challenge, not weighing yourself for a week. What if we just delete any sort of food tracking apps for 1 week? And if you want to bring them back next Friday, okay, go for it. You can always re-download it. But what if we tried 1 week for those that use those apps or flirt with those apps? What if we try 1 week without them? Oh, Shanna, that's really interesting. I know that what is it called? Recovery, not Recovery Road. Recovery Record is one that I've when I did like a mentee mentor program with Project Heal, and my mentee used, I think, Recovery Record, which can help, but I'm not sure if you need to have a team or if you can sort of access the app on your own. I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, Jaleesa, is that how you pronounce your name? That's gorgeous. Interesting. So, I wonder if Jaleesa, since it feels too scary to go a week, I wonder if there's like a compromise. Also, if it's too much to challenge this, that's okay too. But just sort of thinking, being creative, like what if you put the app, you know how, and I'm bad at this because I'm a grandma, but if you put the app in a place on your phone that's kind of annoying to get to, like it's on the last page, it's in like 3 different folders. So it takes you more time to access it, so that you're maybe not deleting it, but you're slowing down your process of clicking it, maybe. Or if you set a rule like, okay, before I access this app, I have to say 2 affirmations to myself in the mirror. And you just have to do it. My friend made this amazing post on social media this morning that I was like, wow, that's so helpful. It's more in the social and racial justice realm, but she is saying that before she posts anything on social media, be it political or a picture of her food, or a picture of a dog or whatever, that she's going to make one phone call, donation, email, some sort of like active political action, in the Black Lives Matter realm before she does any social media activity. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a really cool idea. And I wonder if there's a way to kind of, thanks, Heather, for that idea, to kind of use that in terms of recovery as well before you go to access your app that might be engaging with eating disorder behaviors. You have to do one thing pro recovery, whether it's say an affirmation, whether it's do a 2-minute meditation to slow down your physiology. A lot of these things that we do, and I include myself in this, to sort of cope with the noise of life, like body check. That's a big thing for me. Um, Body check, use these, calorie tracking apps, use a behavior. They become so second nature and habitual to us, and part of what we use to self-regulate, that if we can kind of slow down the process of engaging with them, even if we still engage, even if you still body check, but slowing it down, so that we think about what we're doing and explore like our body's physiology before we do it. Like, and remember, not a therapist, not a doctor, just a gal in recovery. Just a white gal in recovery. um Listening to our physiology, listening to what is my heart rate doing, is what do I feel disconnected from the ground? Do I feel anxious? Where's my anxiety levels? Slowing down the process of doing that can be really interesting. I've heard that sort of technique used for smokers who are trying to quit smoking, where like if you're just gonna like go grab a cigarette and put it to your mouth or whatever, slowing it down, like, okay, open your purse, take a moment, what does that feel like? Grab the box of cigarettes, take a moment, what does it feel like in your hand? What is your body's physiology doing in response to holding that box of cigarettes? Okay, you open it. So slowing down the steps. So whether it's like, okay, I'm going to grab my phone, okay, I'm going to sit with that, I have the impulse to do this tracking app, I'm grabbing my phone, I'm just going to sit with it for 10 seconds, turn my phone on, what is my heart rate doing? Do I feel, you know do I feel, what am I thinking about? This and that, this and that. You get what I'm saying. Um, oh, that's great. So Shayna or Shanna is saying the recovery app focuses on how you're feeling and reflecting on what's actually bothering you rather than the calories. I think that sounds really great. Hopefully, I know you said, I think they said that they were in beta testing mode. So hopefully they can figure it out and put it out, because it sounds like a really cool tool. Uh, Anya, I'm so sorry. I know that feeling. It's a really hard feeling to sit with. Um, yeah, yeah. It's really hard. That restriction and binging cycle is really, really, really tricky. And at least for myself, and that's all I can really speak from myself and, reading I've done and whatnot, is that I was not able to stop binging until I stopped restricting, like for real, stopped restricting. And not just mostly stopped restricting. We have little games that we play with. At least I did have little games that I played with my brain where it's not really restricting, but it is. Um, I couldn't really get my binging to stop until I was nourishing myself consistently, and also let go of this idea that I was trying to lose weight. For me, that was a really big, yeah, even small meals feel like binging. Yeah. Ani, I'm wondering if you're able to work with a nutritionist or a dietitian who can help you kind of, for me, I really needed like an expert to tell me what to eat, because I didn't trust myself, and I shouldn't have. I had no business trusting myself at that point. Like I didn't know how to eat. I didn't know what my body needed. I was completely like out of sync with any hunger sensors. And I wonder, if you could have an expert kind of come in and help, and help you understand what your body actually needs, because it's that disconnect from what our body needs. That disconnect is real, and it's scary, and it's hard to sit with, and it's hard to manage. Alicia, that's so exciting. Congratulations. What an important role you're going to be playing to these young people. So I think what's really exciting is that it sounds like you're in a different place than the last time your eating disorder spiked. So you have spent time cultivating tools and resources for yourself to not use behaviors, right? You have experience now, you have experience living in recovery, and that won't go away. Oh, that's a great idea, Nana. I think whenever I've changed locations, I try to find a therapist before I get there so that I just have a team in place to kind of help me ahead of time. Since we're in the age of COVID, perhaps you can, do some online sessions ahead of time to sort of like get to know that person and have a bit of a um, relationship before going in. Someone suggested meetup groups. That's wonderful. Um, and I wonder too, since you're going to be working at a school, I wonder if there's a way to have some community with the teachers and the other staff members, maybe. Um, that could that could maybe be interesting. Suggestions. Let's all hit some suggestions for meeting people and forming community in new spaces. It's hard. It's really challenging. Um, let's see. How have I met folks? I mean, honestly, like if you want to do things that are recovery related, finding like a support group that meets in your area just to go to kind of have a little community in recovery could be really exciting. I don't know if you do sports, if that's, okay for you where you're in recovery. If, obviously, we wouldn't want to trigger any sort of exercise related anxiety, but maybe a bowling league or something like that could be kind of fun. Um, I really love bar trivia, which it's COVID, so I don't know if that's happening. Maybe eventually, like at the local pub down the street, whether or not you partake in alcohol, it's still fun to like have a little team. You play trivia and you kind of get to know some of the other teammates. Like they're like regulars a lot of times. I'd love more suggestions. My mind is kind of hitting a little bit of a blank. Oh yeah, pub trivia nights on YouTube. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Facebook groups looking for a new area. Yeah, that's a great idea, Katie. That's wonderful. Cool. And I think the thing is that everybody knows deep down that it's kind of hard to make friends as an adult, and it's like kind of scary and anxiety provoking. So like I think I think there is a we all kind of know it's a little bit hard and a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think most people are looking to form like real connections with people they like. So maybe just acknowledging that any sort of trepidation you have around it is really, really normal, and that the other people are probably feeling it as well. Does that make sense? I don't know. How did you know what you wanted to do with your life career wise? Been working in a field and working on a degree in it too, and it's hurting my mental health. Oh, Amanda, wow. That's really, well, I have to say, like, congratulations on identifying that what you're working in is bringing pain to you and not working for your mental health. It's a really uncomfortable thing to realize, but it's a really empowering and important one. I would love to know what you all do and how you sort of landed in that path. For me, I'm a creative actor, writer, but, to survive, I teach. I teach at the college level, I teach piano lessons. And I do have to say, there is a constant for me because I kind of am one of those creatives whose income is never stable and who kind of has to, not has to, participates a little bit in hustle culture, which I think is kind of problematic, that I have to constantly be kind of analyzing how much my survival jobs are taking from my mental health. So that's sort of my, I guess, maybe my way into understanding what you might be going through. And it's challenging, right? Because we have to make money to survive. But it sounds like you're maybe not yet working in the field you're exploring, that you're in your education journey. Is that right? Okay, sending you love, Anya. You got this. This is just a moment. Your body knows how to take care of you. Your body will take care of you. And I want you to, if you can, practice 10% more forgiveness for what you perceive as what's happening. Mwah. Um, let's see. Oh, social work field. Yeah. Oh, Amanda, it's really, really challenging. It's a really challenging world. One of my best friends has been a social worker for about a decade, and it's challenging. I think there's a reason there's a lot of burnout, especially right now. We're in such a challenging and important time with COVID, with this incredible Black Lives Matter movement. There's a lot of pain and a lot of anxiety for a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. Our culture is really sick. Our president, and I'm in America, our president is a fucking monster. And I completely understand why working in that realm might be taking a toll on you. I think it's, hi, Jacqueline. I think it's completely natural. I wonder, are you in the stage of your education yet where you're also working with a therapist to kind of detangle some of the stuff that's coming up in your social work training? I know my friend who's a social worker has a therapist that she goes to sort of unwind from all of that. But there's nothing wrong with deciding to pivot if that's what you decide as well. You know, we're sort of past the time in America where people have just one job for their lives, right? Um, that's okay, Jacqueline. It's nice to see you. Um, oh gosh, ordered back to work. Oh goodness, it's really hard. Um, so I would say if you can, I'm a little rambly today. Um, if you can give yourself some patience and some freedom to not know exactly what you want to do and know that that's normal and know that that's okay, and to listen to what your mental health needs first and foremost. Oh, yeah, Amanda. I mean, I have to say, like, that's a really powerful realization that you've had, and a tough one to come to, and really empowering. And I think you should listen to those voices and listen to that, because ultimately, in order for any one of us to do good in the world, to do good in our work, to do good in our relationships, we have to take care of ourselves first. And you reliving your trauma is not going to be beneficial to anyone you encounter, and it's not going to be beneficial to you. So you know, I hope you'll take time to kind of sort through those feelings and know that that's really legitimate. And yay, Katie deleted this food trackers. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, Amanda, 21, you are not behind, lady. You are not behind. My boyfriend is 38 and he's still having these questions with himself every day. What should I do? He's actually considering going to get his MSW. No, 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 no. I am no comparisons. I mean, easier said than done, right? I get it. All my friends have kids and own houses, and like I don't even have a savings account, so we're fine. We're fine. I do have a savings account, but there's hardly anything in it. You are doing amazing. And also life isn't, we're in this like capitalistic white supremacist culture that tells us that we are what we accomplish, and it's just a fucking lie. And it keeps our wheels spinning and keeps us exhausted and unreflective. And we don't have to follow we don't have to follow a track that was put in place by rich white men. We just don't. We can make our own tracks. Especially like, you know, if you think of like the masculine and the feminine, which not related to gender identity. We all have aspects of all of them in us. But the masculine tends to be this sort of push through, and the feminine tends to be a sort of cyclical thing. And I think we could all of us on the gender spectrum embrace a little more of the cyclical aspects. We don't have to know the answers, and we don't have to rush to productivity, and we don't have to do, go all the time. We can just be a little bit more. I don't think that this incredible Black Lives Matter movement would have caught fire the way it did if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic that sort of allowed everyone to kind of slow down and sit with the horrors of capitalism and the horrors of a very sick country in America. So I do think rest and reflection is a very important stage of any sort of journey. Did any of that make sense? I don't even know. Um, let's see here. Yay, deleting food trackers. Hooray! Yes, rebuild after a train wreck of 20s. Catherine J, I feel you. Yes, yes. Hey, we're just living. We're just living the best we can. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's sweet. Tita. Does anyone else struggle with triggering themselves on purpose? Oh, that's a very interesting question, an interesting dynamic. I wonder what's behind that, Finley. I wonder, is there a sort of comfort in the known pain, maybe? I'm just sort of thinking a fear of letting go of the eating disorder, maybe, a fear of freedom. Hey, you're not alone. I'm really curious about those instincts. Oh, interesting. Amanda also feels it. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder, is there a sort of comfort in those known feelings? What do we think it is? What do we think that is? Oh, interesting. Huh. It made you feel better about what you're doing, maybe make you feel a little less alone. I wonder if there's a way to sort of gradually, kind of what we were talking about with these food tracking apps, like, oh, interesting. If we sort of gradually replace the triggering stuff with more supportive things like virtual support groups or books on recovery or things that kind of can scratch a little bit of that triggering itch but also scratch a little bit of that recovering itch, so we can kind of move toward a more recovery oriented perspective. Has anyone had success in that kind of thing? Like, what are some recovery centric books, media, music that we could maybe, if we're engaging with triggering material, maybe you don't even have to let go of the triggering material just yet. Maybe when you do, it's like what we are talking about before, like if you're going to watch something triggering, you also have to watch something that's recovery oriented, right? So it's kind of like we're trying to find a little more balance in our journey toward healing. Just an idea. Again, not a therapist, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, just a gal. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Tina, anxiety over clashing views. I wonder if this has to deal with political conversations, maybe. And I do think, at least for me, being at home around my family just kind of like clicks me back sometimes into, oh, burned your triggering books? Fuck yeah. That's so punk rock. I love it. Burn those books. For me, just even being at home with my family, I click back into like bratty 16-year-old Angela, who was bratty, but she was also very hungry. Bless her. But I kind of click back into that space, and a lot of yes it is. Yeah, I think, Tina, I think that is everybody. I We were just staying with my boyfriend's family, and they're so lovely and wonderful, and I know he was struggling with, gosh, I feel sometimes like I'm getting back to that petulant And I'm like, yeah, I think that's so normal. I think that like we all do that um, when we're back with our parents, and it's hard to sort of create new boundaries and create new relationships with our parents after growing up as kids, you know? Um, so what are some tools that we can come up with to sort of managing that anxiety? Um, I wonder, like, I don't know. I would be interested for what all of you all have to say. Like, how do we manage anxiety in our parents' home, or like anxiety around differing points of view on the way of the world? Um, let's see here. Oh, that's really funny, Alicia. Yeah, our parents probably feel it as well. I mean, maybe there's something in just acknowledging it with our parents, like, hey, this is happening. This is also normal. This happens to everybody. How can we be a little bit, I'll be a little bit better. And I'm sure our parents also revert to parenting us like they did when we were kids, right? It's probably hard to, I'm not a parent yet, but I would imagine that it's difficult to change your boundaries with your child and change the way you relate to them, and um, see them as adults. Oh, ripped up her triggering clothes. Yes. I'm really gravitating toward these violent options. Um, let's see here. Uh, Ragdoll, Ragdoller. I'm so sorry that you had that experience. It really infuriates me when size is ever used as a determining factor for health. It's just medically incorrect. I'm really, really, really sorry that that experience happened to you, and I'm really sorry that you're in pain right now and that you're afraid to get help because the system failed you in the past. It's a fat phobic, white supremacist system, and it bleeds into our medical industries. Diet culture has such a toxic grip on our world, and and I'm really sorry that it has harmed you in the way that it has, because to be afraid of getting help, I mean, it's criminal that they treated you like that. I'm so sorry. And I hope that yeah, what Tina just said, I hope that you will continue to fight for your life and for your right to recover and to have support. And looking for dietitians that come from the healthy at any size modality can be really helpful. I just bought Healthy at Any Size, or Healthy at Every Size. Healthy at Every Size, that's what it is, I think. Book. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm excited to. I'm also listening to this book called Fearing the Black Body by Sabrina Strings, and Anti-Diet by Christy Harrison. And they both talk a lot about the racism and the white supremacy that are intertwined with the history of diet culture. And the more I read, the more angry I get, and how fat phobia is incredibly tied to white supremacy. And it's just all this sickness just compounds upon itself. And you have directly experienced, regardless of your gender, race, age, you are experiencing the negative impact of that. And it's not fair. And you deserve support, and you deserve tools to help you recover, and you deserve validity in your body. And I'm so sorry. So I hope that you, and maybe you have a friend or a family member who can sort of help you advocate for yourself in this, that you can maybe find a treatment facility or a therapist, dietitian who comes from this Healthy at Every Size modality, that understands that eating disorders have nothing to do with shape, and that you'll keep fighting for yourself, and know that you fighting for treatment is an act of like political resistance. I really believe that, and that every time we fight and we advocate for ourselves, we're doing a little bit to break this very sick system. That's what I use sort of. I use, it might not work for everybody, but for me, sort of like political activism rhetoric helps inspire me to continue in recovery when I feel like I can't do it for myself. Um, because when you look at the history of these illnesses that we've all struggled with, the history is so scary and dark and intentional to keep us quiet and keep us subdued and keep us small and keep our lives small and our brains small, and it's not right and it makes me angry. So my wish for you is that you will find the fire within you to keep advocating for yourself to get the support you need, because you deserve it. You deserve it at the end, right? Yes. Um, let's see. Oh, a male recovering from anorexia who's a stand-up. I want to watch that. Let's see here. And I should also say I don't know a ton about the healthy at every size movement. I'm still reading about it, so there might be flaws within it. I'm not sure. I'm not like a expert on it. It's something I'm starting to explore a little bit. And I've heard from other people in recovery that that modality has been helpful. But there may be some problematic aspects to it. It's possible. Um, cool. Lots of great conversations here. I love it. Let's see. Yes, Chloe, I agree. It's equally harmful. Yes, agreed, Ragdollar. Weight should not even come. No, I agree. I agree. Oh, it's a phase. You know, we can't change everybody. And it sounds like your parents have a total misunderstanding of what it means to have an eating disorder. And that's really disappointing. And you may just have to accept that they don't understand and fight for yourself despite that. It's absolutely disappointing. Um, and um, that you can try to educate them, you can try to give them books, things to watch, but ultimately they may not understand it, and it sucks, and it's not fair, and you have to continue to fight for yourself regardless. Yeah, it's a bummer. I feel very blessed. My mom is a nurse, and she's incredibly oh, thanks, Chloe. She's incredibly understanding, and but I know not everyone has parents that are able to take in the complexities of what this means, or are willing to. It's a phase, could also be a way for your mom to protect herself from seeing the pain you're in, you know and it's not your job or your responsibility to teach her. She needs to take that on herself, and she may not. And all you your relationship with her, and fight for your own health and your own future. Um, let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, Danielle, like weight is a terrible indication of health. It just doesn't shape doesn't determine health. Um, Anorexia is seen in all different shapes. Bulimia, all different shapes. Binge eating, all different shapes. Orthorexia, all different shapes. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. LB, yeah, yep. So when we can't recover for ourselves, maybe we can recover for each other and for a greater cause. Maybe sometimes, and we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to do recovery perfect. I'm seeing some documentary suggestions, which is really cool. There was a discussion of eating disorders between men and women, and I'm certainly not an expert in that area. You know, I know plenty of men who have had eating disorders, and I live in a cis white lady body. So, you know, my experience is the one that gets the most representation. I'll acknowledge it. I guess maybe not the most since I'm in my 30s and we generally see younger white women, but still, I'm mostly the highest represented population, which I that's just my story, you know. But eating disorders don't discriminate against gender, race lines at all, you know. Um, and I'm you know, trying to educate myself on the ways eating disorders affect communities other than the white cis female community. Because we all, oh, what is happening to my phone? Uh-oh. Okay. Because we all deserve health and support and healing. Is acting in binge triggering for you? You know, it's not, but I think it probably would have been very triggering. Oh yay, Valeria! Oh, you're not failing. You're not failing at all. You're you're in recovery. How's it going? Real quick for my warning, it's not triggering for me. I think because when we first started, I was so far and like I had years of kind of recovery under my belt that I felt safe enough to portray it. And for me, it's pretty cathartic because I'm like, oh wow, when I was in this, that really sucked. And I have such a wonderful supportive team around me that it's not triggering for me. But if anyone's considering sort of like making art or public comments about their eating disorders, I would advise being extremely discerning on whether it feels like it's going to be helpful or hurtful for your recovery, because recovery is the most important thing. I'm going to sneeze. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I don't think I am going to sneeze. Such drama here. Valeria, that's so exciting. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Jonathan's an amazing guy. He's wonderful. And yeah, he's got a lot of good insights on what it's like to be a gay man with an eating disorder. And I really appreciate him taking the time to talk with me. That was a while ago, and we also just featured him in a little episode, which was really fun. Oh, cool, Catherine. That sounds awesome. Sorry about my headphones. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, Valeria, that's really, really exciting. I'm so glad that you're taking these steps. It's really, really exciting. And challenging, hard to do, and really empowering. And, you know, if you can, give yourself permission to give over to the process. Oh, good. I'm glad you're loving it. I'm excited to release the last episode on Monday. But yeah, I hope you can give yourself permission to trust your body, trust your team, trust the process, and you know, just know that the discomfort that comes with early recovery is huge, but it does not last. The more you practice sitting in that discomfort, tolerating that discomfort, the easier it will be going forward. And I promise you that, because that's what I've experienced. And you know, I hope it can be a time of like some stillness and ushering in some peace, that you're taking your future seriously and that you're giving yourself the chance that you deserve. And we need you healthy. We need you. We need you in this world. So it's really exciting. Yay. Yay, recovery. Oh good, I'm glad you're liking the little minis. We have 2 more? Is that right? Yeah, we got 2 more before our launch on Monday. Monday, 9 a.m. PST. We're gonna do a live a live release on YouTube, and it'll be a lot of fun. Cool. So I'm gonna be doing these support sessions on Fridays. They might be at 11 a.m. and today was at noon because I overslept. Oopsies. Um, um, we'll see. They'll be 11 or 12 on Fridays, depending on if I oversleep or not, and if I have a work meeting or not. Well, let's stick to 11. And yeah, well, I'll see you. I'll see you then, but I'll see you all on Monday first for the release. Keep interacting with each other, checking out those free virtual support groups. And what should we practice this week? 5% more what? What do you think? No, you don't have to, don't apologize. No. No apologies allowed here. Everything's helpful. All comments, everyone can really, no apologies. Let's see here. What does equanimity mean? We want 5% more. Oh, I like tenderness. What do we think about tenderness? 5% more tenderness. That's very sweet. 5% more. Oh, accepting things as they come. What do we think? Okay, I do like that equanimity. Okay, so here are your options. 5% more tenderness, 5% more creativity, or 5% more equanimity. And delete those calorie apps this week. Just for this week. You can bring them back next week if you want. Sound good? Okay. I love you all. And I will see you next Friday. Mwah.